Hello, and welcome to our latest episode of Courageous Leadership Academy Live. If you're new to the channel, my name is Dr. Kelly Waltman, and on this channel, we cover pretty much all things leadership. We focus a lot on communication, getting comfortable with feedback, but we also, during these Leadership Live Academy sessions, really tackle all things leadership, professional growth, and want to give you the tools to become a great leader. And today we have the pleasure of speaking with Denise Grove and Dennis Zubler from Yellow Submarine Coaching. I'll tell you a little bit about them, and then I'll bring them into the broadcast here. I've connected with both of these individuals, these amazing individuals, through a local networking group, and it has really been a pleasure getting to become more familiar with their work, and I'm really excited to have you all meet them and hear more about what they're doing and be inspired. Quick intros for each of them. Denise Grove is an internationally acclaimed speaker, coach, and consultant whose passion in life is helping others make lifelong changes. She is dedicated to helping women get unstuck. I think we've all felt that way at some point in time, if not right now. She's also a leader in a local women's business group. She spent time in Haiti and Ghana working with children, and she is a mom of 7 children. That's pretty amazing stuff. Dennis has been using business and life coaches for over 15 years, and he attributes a great deal of his success to those coaches and those relationships. He was a business owner for 25 years and saw significant growth after learning from others. It inspired him so much, he decided to sell his business and form Yellow Submarine Coaching, which is why we have Dennis and Denise here today. He was really inspired and wanted to help others. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Denise and Dennis into our stream here. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you both for being here. So I gave a little bit of background there. Before we dive into some of the question and answer, is there anything more you'd like to share either about each of your backgrounds or more about Yellow Submarine Coaching in general?
So, I guess I just want to start by saying that Denise and I have been learning from other people for many, many, many years, whether that's reading books, whether that's going to conferences, whether that's, using coaches, both life coaches and business coaches. And so we have acquired, a wealth of knowledge to be able to help people achieve more of what they want from life. And that's really what Yellow Submarine Coaching is all about.
Yes, it's definitely our passion to share what we've learned and to come alongside people. And what I've found is most people get stuck because they have this big goal or this big dream, but they don't have a plan to achieve it. And a goal without a plan is really just a dream that may or may not come to fruition. And so what we love to do is help people break those down, come alongside them, give them the support they need. And it's amazing how quickly people can achieve things when they have that support. So
that's wonderful. I love that you both, you've had the advantage and the blessing of learning from other people, and now you're paying it forward and doing that and helping other people learn and grow, and that's fantastic. And that definitely resonates with me a lot as well. And I think you make a great point, Denise, that it really is so much about having that strategy. I interviewed Lisa Heinzelman a couple weeks ago, or maybe that was last week. I can't remember at this point. Recently, I interviewed Lisa, and she talked about the importance of strategy for business. And so I think that it's great that you point that out. That is really applicable for all things, whether we're talking about business, goals in general. And I'm sure we'll dive more into that strategy side of things moving forward. But thank you both. I appreciate that. So, one of the things that I want to ask you is, why is it, some people might naturally have goals and aspirations, like they're wired that way, and they want to they know they want to go for more. But some people maybe need that extra nudge, or maybe they're not sure why they should continue to strive for more. So why is it so beneficial for people to just continuously seek to grow and learn and strive for more?
I think a lot of times it's mindset. I think that's the difference in people. It can go back to how you were raised, things you were taught, things you were told in school, whatever, that there's just some people that naturally have this bent to want to achieve things and feel like they're unstoppable. And then there's other people who, we all have dreams. I mean, that's within each one of us, the desire to be more, but mindset can often stop us from then feeling like we have the ability to achieve things. And so I think that's the root of it. If you get to everybody, if you get to the core of their mindset and their belief system, and you can help them make that shift, I think everybody has the ability to achieve goals. And I think everybody has dreams inside of them. They just often keep them there because of whatever that thought process is. And so it's just really important that people understand that. They understand their mindset, where things are rooted, and they get to the root of that so that they can unleash their potential.
And Kelly, you asked, why is it important to have goals and achieve? So, if I think back to, when I was in school, that was a few years ago.
Just a couple.
If I got an A, how did I feel?
Right.
Okay. If I got an A, I felt great. I achieved. I accomplished. I felt good.
Mm-hmm.
If I felt good, then I wanted to achieve more. And
right.
I would strive to have success and achieve. And when I achieved more, I felt good. And every time I achieved, my self-esteem went up. And now I have a higher self-esteem and a higher belief in myself to be able to do and achieve more. So I really think it's important to achieve, because it makes us feel good and it allows us to achieve even more with our lives.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about it that way before, but you're absolutely right. And when you're able to, even if you can set a very small goal, something, and then you achieve that, how amazing that feels when you've gotten that sense of accomplishment. And because it might be one of those things where people tend to think, well, I'm pretty good. And it's good for people to be content and feel happy, but knowing that you can feel even happier, knowing that by doing those things and accomplishing those goals, that you can feel more inspired and take on even more. That's a great point.
It's scientific fact that when we do achieve something, no matter how small, it releases dopamine. And so there is, we actually do feel better. And so, it really does affect the way that we feel, our mood, what we feel we can do in the future. That's the other thing that's so important. You said, even if you achieve something small, well, all goals, no matter how large, can be broken down into these small steps. And as we achieve each one, we feel more empowered, we feel stronger, we feel like we can conquer the world. And so that's what we love to see. And that's what we love to help people understand.
I just want to think, Kelly, the more we achieve, the more success we have, the better we're able to help other people.
Yeah.
So if we don't achieve ourselves, if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't help others. And really,
that's a great point. Yeah.
Helping others is really what life's all about.
Yeah, I say that all the time, that you can't pour from an empty vessel. And so if you really want to be your best at being able to take care of other people, you need to take care of yourself as well. And I don't know that people tend to think of goal setting and achievement as a way to take care of yourself, but it really is. And I love the way you're both describing that. And that's a really great point. Denise, you mentioned the idea of mindset. And this is something that I think a lot about, and I've, read Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, and that has changed the way I think and approach a lot of things. How important is mindset when people are setting goals and working to achieve goals?
Well, I think it's key. I mean, it's the core of what you'll be able to achieve. What your mind thinks is what you can believe, and whatever limits you put on yourself through your thoughts is what limits you. Dr. Carolyn Leaf has a lot of phenomenal studies on the brain and how if you continually think negative thoughts or you continually think defeating thoughts, it actually creates this pattern. But you can change that, and actually your brain will change. It's called neuroplasticity, and it's fascinating, but our thoughts really do at the core control what we achieve. It does. So if you have a self-limiting belief, if you have a negative mindset, if you have some thought along the way that's kind of rooted itself in there, it will ultimately hold you back if you don't shift that, if you don't make that shift out of that mindset, because you will never achieve more than you think that you can achieve. And belief is at the core. Believing a goal can be achieved is at the core of it coming to fruition. You have to believe it can happen. And so mindset is actually key. Mindset is the first thing you need to work on. It's one of the first things when we do the course in the first few weeks, it's the first thing we tackle is, what is your mindset? Do you have a positive outlook? Do you have a negative outlook? What are limiting beliefs you've had? And we have to go through all of that, because we don't clear that out first, nothing else is going to happen.
Absolutely. Mindset is the first thing. And Denise said it's huge. And she talked about, believe. And many people do not believe in themselves. And that's something that has to be overcome first. We all have great abilities. We all have more abilities than we realize. There's only a few people that really have achieved probably what they're able to. And many other people are, sitting back, letting life pass them by when they could have and do and be so much more.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think about it all just relating to each other, and like you said, this cycle. I think you mentioned that, Denise, that if you are thinking negative thoughts, you're thinking you can't do it, well then it'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you think you can, I think, is it that Henry Ford quote, if you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And but if you believe that you can, and you will, not just that you can, but you will, and then you do take that small step that you talked about and you accomplish that, then that's going to boost your confidence, and then it'll just keep building and growing. So it's interesting to think about how that all relates and builds upon each other.
I think too, one of the situations when it comes to mindset, one of the difficulties when it comes to mindset is we can think that we can, and then something happens. And that quickly, all of a sudden we believe that we can't. And so it's learning to push past fear, learning to push past failure, learning to push past what other people think of you, what others say about you. There's so many things that go into that, because we have to believe it. And then we have to keep moving forward in spite of what others are saying or what else is going on, and control what we can control. And the only thing that we can control is our own mindset and what we think.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Are there other things that you have seen or that you think, we've talked a little bit about mindset, and we've talked about, like you just mentioned, if people experience a bit of failure, or maybe a big failure, but even if we get a small setback, that can maybe diminish our confidence. But are there other things that you have seen or you've come across that hold people back from pursuing more and wanting to achieve their goals?
I think the three things I see the most are fear of failure, fear of what other people think, and fear of change. Those three things hold people back every single time. And so if they can get to the core of what the root of that is and why they feel that way, and they can overcome that mindset, I think it opens up a whole new world to them.
And one of the things Denise and I do is we go through a process to help someone understand that these fears aren't rational.
Mm.
They really are not rational. And once you can overcome that, now you get that out of the way. Now you can start to achieve, you can start to believe, you can, as Denise said, you can start to step forward. Even small steps moving forward will take you a long way, as opposed to sitting still. And I think another reason that people don't achieve goals is they don't know how.
Mm.
One of the things that Denise and I have both learned from others, we didn't make this up, we didn't discover this, we learned from others. But Denise and I share a process of goal setting and then goal achievement. And, many people, let's just take a New Year's resolution. Almost everybody has set a New Year's resolution at some time. And usually, till January 30, they have given up that resolution that they set in the beginning of the year. Whether it was to do something or not do something or whatever it is, they gave up, they quit. And they quit because they don't have a process to use to keep them moving forward. So this process that Denise and I share probably is one of the most critical things for people to learn. Because when I learned it and I actually did it, and I followed it, I took action, and I did it over and over and over, it worked. And we've shared it with other people. And when they use the process over and over and over, we have testimonials for people that, are just absolutely blown away by what they've done since they've taken our course.
Yeah. I love what you both have just shared. Not only is so applicable for an individual seeking, to achieve a goal, but obviously on this channel, I talk a lot about leadership and how to be an effective leader and give effective feedback and help people learn and grow. And everything you just said, both of you, really applies to being an effective leader as well. Both being willing to take those risks and overcome those 3 fears yourself, but also providing the space for your team members to do the same thing. Everything that you mentioned, Denise, and those 3 components, if you can create a space where there is that psychological safety and people feel freed up to take risks and they're not worried about failure and what you're going to think of them, that's huge. That allows the team and the organization to advance and move forward in addition to each of those individuals. And similarly, Dennis, with what you were sharing, I think about with that individual coaching and mentoring that I encourage leaders to do. If you are following that process, you not only will help yourself grow, but you're going to help your team members as well. You're setting them up for success, because it is so important that we understand that, the yesteryear of just, this is hierarchy, this is management, you do what I say, doesn't really work. That, people are expecting that coaching and mentoring. And this is a great roadmap for personal achievement, but also for leadership. So you've mentioned the course. I definitely want to talk more about that, because in addition to individual coaching and consulting, you do have your success course. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that, both just overall in general, and what some of those key components are that maybe people can take away as some helpful information?
Well, the success course is an 11-week course. As Dennis said, we teach a process. Because as I talked about in the beginning, you can have goals and dreams and aspirations, but without a plan, it's really hard to achieve them, or it takes a really long time to achieve them. And so what we go over in that 11 weeks, and we go over mindset. We teach you that a goal that is written down with a deadline is way more likely to happen than if it's not written down. Pencil and paper are your greatest tool in goal achievement. Really, it's that easy. What we teach in the 11 weeks is very simple, but takes discipline. It's not always easy. And so we take you through the whole process. Dennis, I don't know if you want to share more of what goes on that I'm missing.
Well, so the course now has become Zoom. It originally was held in my office, and it was live face to face. But I shared with Denise at the beginning of 2020, like in January, I said, by the end of the year, I want to have this course to be virtual. Well, in March, that happened. I had a course going on, and I said, okay, we're going to start doing this on Zoom. And, Denise also had a course. Denise does this exact same course, but she does it for women only. She also participates with me when I do the course. But all of a sudden, COVID came along, and we were doing this virtual course right away. And one of the great things now about doing this virtually is this spring, the second course I started in the spring, I had a lady from California in the course, and I had a young man from Poland in the course. In addition to people from South Central Pennsylvania. So it really opens it up to a wide variety of people. And during the course, we have discussion. We have a book that we give out. We have a reading assignment, which Denise, you can do in half an hour, I think. It's not hard. It's simple reading. And at the end of each chapter, there's 6 or 7 questions. There's no right or wrong. It's just how you feel, how you think about something. But what the course does is make you think. It makes you think deeper about maybe things you really haven't thought deeply about. You think about what really is important to me. And the other thing that happens when we go through this course with people will share goals. And oftentimes by the end of the course, the goals are different. They may have started this course, taken this course with one goal in mind. And when we're done, they may have 5 or 10 goals that are different aspects of their life. So when you hear the word success, which is what we call the course, success, all capital letters, exclamation point. When you hear success, what do you think? You think money. That's the first thing that comes to mind. But in the course, we don't talk just about money and careers. We talk about life balance. We share the balance wheel, and we share all aspects of your life, because we can all have a richer, fuller life when our life is in balance or somewhat in balance. So it really is a course about life, and it's really a course about having more of what it is you want, the individual wants from life. So this is not a lecture. We do not lead people. We share and we discuss. And the discussion, I learn from the discussion, from hearing other people's thoughts. And people in the course hear and learn from each other. When you get through the 11 weeks, you come out a different person, I believe.
I believe it. Yeah. Well, I'm excited because I registered to participate in the course starting in January. So I'm very excited about that. And I think you guys make some excellent points in terms of, one of the things you said, Denise, about writing it down, pencil and paper, pen and paper, writing it down and declaring it. That is, we know that is a key piece of anything that we want to achieve. And again, I say the same thing when it comes to with leaders and they're coaching their team members, that whatever it is you want them to work on, like you said, declare it and put a deadline. But I also love, Dennis, that you share that it can be fluid. When you're talking about the course of 11 weeks, and as you do that self-reflection and as you really work through that process, what you thought was your goal might actually, very well may change. And I also think it's great that you point out that really is whatever people are looking for, whatever it is that you want more of in your life. It doesn't just have to be about financial success or business success. It could be anything that is a very personal thing, whatever it is you want more of. But this process helps you achieve that. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think too, often, especially I lead the course for women, and often when I'm speaking to groups of women, and what I found is they feel like it's selfish to invest in their self and to do something like this. We have to often, as women, give ourselves permission to succeed, permission to make ourselves a priority. But when we do that, we talked about this in the beginning, the benefits of that is you're not pouring from that empty cup. You're putting your oxygen mask on first before trying to help everybody else. You become an example to your coworkers, to your family, to those you're leading, and you become better for it. And so we have to give ourselves permission to invest in ourselves and to take that time to really look within us and say, what is really important to me? What is out of balance? What are my goals? Where do I want to be? Because if we don't take that time time keeps moving on. Our greatest resources are our time and people. Those are our greatest resources, and time will keep moving. And so you'll start 2021, and the next thing you know, you'll be ending 2021. I mean, who thought 2020 would go so fast? It's a horrible year, but it's already December. Who thought that?
I know.
And so if you don't take the time to stop and really reflect on what you want, you will be in the exact same place. You will be, whether that's feeling stuck, complacent, whatever that is, you will be in the exact same place a year from now. And time is very precious, and we don't know how much time we're given. And so to make the most of it and to really be purposeful in our life is really important. And so that's what I love about the course. It does dig deep into lots of different areas of our life. And it shows us what's a priority and what do I want to achieve and where do I want to be? But then it gives us the support to actually get there. So.
That's great. You used one of the words that came to mind, and you said it that I've been contemplating a lot lately, and that's purpose. Not just in terms of, although thinking about what is our purpose and living out our purpose, but also being purposeful and being very intentional and purposeful with our time and with our energy. Because you're right, it's so easy if you start the day without a plan, or the week or the year without a plan, time just evaporates, and it's like what just happened. So I tell people, even if that doesn't mean you have to hustle every day. You can take days to relax and but be purposeful about relaxing. Be purposeful about taking that time. Don't just kind of wing it. And so I love that you said that. I think that's a great point.
I had somebody who took the course, and her actual goal was to carve out more time for herself. She felt she was investing a lot of time at work. And so her goal was actually to do some self-care. And so goals can be very different. I mean, like you said, it's not all about financial or career. It can be about finding that balance. But if you're not intentional, the time will keep going by, and you will have wasted it and not been intentional about that rest that you may need, or not intentional about that hustle that you may need too sometimes. And so it's just
right.
Finding that, it's looking at, like Dennis said, looking at that balance wheel, looking at where you are in all areas of your life, and then putting the energy and being intentional about where the energy needs to go.
And that's very important, being intentional. But many people don't know how to be intentional. Many people don't really know how to do it. And that's part of what we help with. I'll mention also, so when we get deep into the course, we actually talk about your subconscious mind and how powerful your subconscious mind can be when you learn how to use it. And I had no idea until it was shared with me and I started to practice. And the practice, that's a very important word. Everything that we teach requires practice. You have to do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you keep getting better and getting better and getting better. And after you do it for so long, it becomes natural. And now all of a sudden, you are achieving things like you can't even imagine 5 years ago you could achieve. And Denise said, it's easy. The process is easy. The key is doing. The key is taking the action.
Yeah, taking those first steps, however small, but just getting started. That's so true. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on. I would imagine that a big part of the benefit of the course is that accountability piece. That having that peer accountability, that coach accountability, can be really motivating. So what are your thoughts on, the role of accountability when it comes to goal achievement, and also what role does accountability play within your work?
I wish I would have pulled it out or printed it out to read it exactly the percentages, but I've read before that if you have a goal and you write it down, you're this % more likely to achieve it. If you look at it daily, then the percentage goes up. And if you do this and you do that, and if you then have an accountability partner, if you have someone that you've told the goal to, it increases. It's like 85% or something like that, that you will achieve the goal. Accountability is key. We were, I believe, made for community. And so we need people in our lives. We need people to speak into our lives. We need people to listen to us and to give us constructive instruction and help us. Like I said, a lot of people have great goals. They don't know how to break them down. And when you share that with another person, and then we can come alongside you and help you break it into sub goals that are much more easy to look at and to feel like you can achieve, that's key. And doing it on your own is a lot harder. And so that I think that accountability plays a very large part in what we do, and also in goal achievement in general. Having another person or people that you bounce your ideas off of, who you talk things through with, who say, hey, did you do this? Or, it makes us move a little different direction, a little quicker. So.
And, most people do not like exercise. I raise my hand. But, if you do it with someone else, it's easier. If I commit that I'm going to meet you at a certain time at the gym, I'll be there, and so will you. If I don't have that accountability to someone else, I have all kinds of excuses, all kinds of reasons why it's not going to happen, why I'm not going to be there. So that accountability is really important. And through the course, part of the accountability is that a group of people are going through this course together. And they all know that each week at a certain time for an hour, we're going to be on a Zoom, in a Zoom class. And we're all going to be discussing. No one's going to be left out. No one's going to be forced to answer anything they don't want to or say anything they don't want to. But everyone gets to know each other. And it's amazing some of the friendships that have developed, from this. But it's knowing that, okay, I've got this class, I've got to do this reading, I need to write answers to these questions to be ready. And so the course forces accountability for 11 weeks. Now, after that, we recommend maybe people team up as accountability partners, but there's also a learning to how to be an accountability partner. Best friends probably don't make good accountability partners because they're too nice to each other. And they say, oh, it's okay. A good accountability partner, asks, okay, what did you do in the last week? Did you work on what you said you were going to work on? And then let the person answer. And if they say, well, no, I slipped, not saying, oh, that's okay. It's saying, well, what are you going to do this week? How are you going to catch up? So there is education to being a good accountability partner. But it is critical for you to continue.
That's a really good point. I've never thought about that before, that, it is a different, skill set, a different approach, rather than just, because we tend to think, we'll just rely on our best buddy. But unless you happen to have one of those friends that really is willing to just tell you how it is, then maybe best friends aren't the best option. So that's a really good point. Is that, it's good to enlist an accountability buddy, but you need to make sure that it's the right one, somebody who's really going to nudge you along and keep pushing you in a healthy way to achieve that goal. That's a really good suggestion. I just want to share here, Alyssa shared a comment earlier, way back when, but I kept forgetting to share it. When you were mentioning, Denise, about where our fear of what other people think of us, and she shares that one of her favorite quotes about fear is that if you knew how less other people think of you, or how I've heard that, like how little someone thinks of you, you'd be offended. And I've heard something similar to that we think people are sitting around thinking about us all the time and what we've messed up or what we're doing, and the truth is they're really probably not thinking about you at all. They're too worried about thinking about their own issues than they are worried about you. And And I've also found that people are like, oh, wow, you actually went and did the thing. They actually admire you for trying, even if you quote unquote fail.
Yeah. Well, when I talk about that, I always say, for one thing, you think you're worried about what other people think about you. They don't. I mean, more than likely, they're really not. If by chance they are, who cares? Because they don't get that power. Only you determine your future. Only you, that power is within you. Outside forces don't have that control or that power. So you just have to give yourself permission to do what you're dreaming of doing. Give yourself permission to chase after that goal and put those blinders on and really not worry about what others are thinking or doing. But more than likely, they're not even thinking about you. So about ourselves way more than other people are thinking about us.
Yes.
Usually how it is. So
it's so true, right? Yeah. If only we were as important as we thought we were in everybody's minds. Yes. What they think of us. So you've both shared some great insights and some suggestions in terms of understanding goal setting and goal achievement. Are there other key things, especially as we are approaching the end of this year and the beginning of a new year? This is a very timely discussion. Are there other key things that people should keep in mind or that they should do when they are looking to set their goals and work towards achieving them? Or don't?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of key things. I mean, we've talked about writing it down. We've talked about our subconscious and accountability, being persistent, learning to be persistent and pressing forward. Even, if you have a setback, if there's a failure, failure's our teacher. It's not something to hold us back. It's to teach us and to fail us forward. So I think it's important to learn to be persistent when it comes to goal achieving. I also believe speed and implementation are key. We are in the information age. There is more information and more books out there and more webinars and podcasts and you name it. You can get the information. It is at our fingertips. The problem is we don't implement what we learn. And so learning to do that quickly and then change course if we need to. I mean, sometimes we need to pivot, we need to readjust. 2020 has taught us all about pivoting and what that looks like, but speed and implementation, being persistent when you're going after your goals, doing the things that you might not feel like doing anyway, and doing them and being disciplined in doing them are key in achieving goals. Like I said, very, very easy things, very simple things, but just not always easy. It's just not always easy. Learning to do things before they're perfect. That's the other thing I find that holds women back so much is they wait for it to be perfect. And you know what? Done is better than perfect.
Yes. I love that quote. I say that all the time. I love it.
Better than perfect. Like it's not, just keep having that speed and implementation and that forward movement, but stop waiting for this perfect moment and just do it. Like the whole Nike thing, just do it. I don't love sports. My family and Dennis will tell you, but I loved watching the whole Michael Jordan on Netflix. I can't even think what it was called right now, but when he talked about how many shots he's taken that he's missed and how many, he just kept doing it. He just kept doing the thing. And that's where he found his greatest success. So if we would learn to just do it and know that done is better than perfect and speed and implementation and being persistent, we can achieve anything. Really, there is so much untapped potential. And that is where the fire comes from me. And the just the passion is because I see so much untapped potential. And I'm like, if you could just move past that mindset, imagine what you could achieve in life. Imagine, and it's not just about you, but like Dennis said, about helping others. Imagine the impact you could have. We have this small little dash of time from when we're born until when we go home or called away. And what we do with that and how intentional we are with that time and what we achieve and how we impact others is so important. And I just feel like there's so many people just walking around with this untapped potential And if they only knew what was inside of them that could impact the world and could change the world, really. And that's what I love. That's what I love about seeing people set goals and achieve goals, especially for me, for women, just to see, I just feel like there's a lot of things for women, especially when it comes to mindset and family and juggling and balancing and all of these things. And I just love to see when they just put their mind to it and they're persistent and they achieve those goals.
Yes, and I wish I could speak like Denise. You can tell that she's been speaking for many years, and she is an exceptional professional speaker. If you ever need her for meetings, for a conference, please reach out. But also one of the things that has driven me for many, many, many years is the mindset that I want to be just a little bit better today than I was yesterday. And I want to be just a little bit better tomorrow than I am today. In some minute way, I want to be a little better. Well, how do I do that? First, I have to commit. Then I have to look at, okay, what am I doing? And I'm going to tell people, if you want to make 2021 better, if you want to become better in 2021, you have to decide now. You can't wait till next June. It's too late. You need to decide now that you're going to make 2021 better, that you're going to be better. And how can you do that? Well, I'm going to tell you that reading books on goal achievement, you can learn so much. There are so many great authors out there that have so many tips on what to do and how to do it. So over the course of 2021, you could decide, I'm going to read 12 books on goal achievement. And if you do, you might get nothing unless you take action. So we have to commit, and then we have to do it and take action. That's what makes the difference. That's how we become better, by doing. And don't wait.
Well, you're both very inspiring for sure. This is a great way to, as we think about moving forward, very, very inspiring. And I love, Denise, when you shared about, Michael Jordan and just putting in the work. I'm still in the process of reading, but I've been reading, technically listening to, but reading Seth Godin's new book, Practice. I don't know if it's The Practice or just Practice, but he talks about the necessity to just keep putting in the work, and he talks about how 50% of his blog posts are below average because that's just how the law of averages works. He's like, 50% of my blog posts are below average, but you just keep churning them out and you just keep doing the work and you just keep showing up. And he talks about it being a practice. And I think, so often we want to wait, as you said, for this, the heavens to part, the light to shine down, for this inspirational moment and the stars to align. But really, and not that never happens. I mean, that does. And sometimes you have those light bulb moments, but more often than not, it really is a product of putting in the work. And like you've said, both of you have said, taking those steps, starting before you're ready, and really just committing and putting in the work. So it's not glamorous, but it pays off. And, the end result might be glamorous, just the work itself isn't.
And the thing about it is, if it really truly is a goal, a passion of yours, the work feels worth it. Does that make sense? I'm very passionate about speaking to people and inspiring them and encouraging them. And I love to be a cheerleader. And the very first time I stepped onto a stage, I was horrible. I was horrible. And, I still have a lot to learn through that practice, but I had the desire to keep going because I loved it. And I think often when we have a goal, if we really hone in on what we really want out of life, it does make it a little easier to work on it and to do the work when we're doing something that's exciting to us, that's passionate, and that's our passion. And if we can keep that end in sight, it's kind of like dangle that carrot in front of us and just keep going even in the hard days, because there will be hard days. But and keep that mindset where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
I'd like to share something else. Someone asked me a few weeks ago, how a life coach is different from a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And what I said was, I love motivational speakers. I've heard many, 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 many motivational speakers. I've read many, of their books. But the difference is, I can go to hear a motivational speaker, and then I go back to work, and it's gone. So what Denise and I, attempt to do with our success course is we attempt to teach people how to have a process that they start and then use day after day after day. It's something that, continues. It's not a feel good that you forget when you go to work. I've done that hundreds of times. This is a process that you learn to do and make part of your daily life. And that's what makes the difference.
That's a great point. Thank you. Yeah, for sharing that. So as we approaching the end of our time here together, I just want to offer the opportunity. Is there anything else additional that you'd like to share? I know we've kind of recapped the key do's and don'ts, but are there any other kind of closing thoughts that you'd like to share?
I think I would just, want to close with, if there's just been something that you've been thinking about, that you've been dreaming about, that you've wanted to achieve, that you've not done it, that you felt held back, or maybe you're just not even sure, what the root of it is and why you're not moving forward. We would love to be able to have an opportunity to just share with you. And so you can find us online at Yellow Submarine Coaching LLC.com. There's a lot of information there. Reach out to us. Like I said, it's our passion to be able to just see people achieve the things that they were created to achieve. So, yeah.
And Kelly, one other thing. So we have 5 success courses coming up beginning of January 5th, 6th, 7th, and 11th. 2 of those are Denise's for women only. But because you've invited us on today, we've decided for anyone who watches this that we are going to offer a $100 discount to the course. So when they go to the website and they look up success course, on the second page, when they fill out the registration, if they put in the code Kelly, all caps, 100, they will receive a $100 discount. One other thing that's really important, Denise and I are kind of crazy because we have this 100% money back guarantee. If you take the course and you don't feel it was worth your money, all you do is tell us and we refund your money, no questions asked. Now, is that crazy or what?
It's confident, not crazy. No, I think that's fantastic. And I know people appreciate that reassurance. And that discount code is fantastic. Thank you so much. I will make sure in the video description that we have the link to your website and any social media profiles that you all have, and also make sure that discount code, that coupon code is in the video description, so people can take advantage of that. And I highly encourage people to do so. As I mentioned, I'm registered to attend in January. I'm really looking forward to it, to starting off 2021 with that intention and purpose and mindset. And as you've mentioned also, Dennis, because now it's virtual, you've had people from other countries and all over. And so thankfully, the advantage is that location is not an obstacle at this point. And if I remember correctly, on the website, you offer those different days and times. So again, people can look and see which day and time fits their schedule best. But yes, I would definitely encourage people to check that out and take advantage of that discount code. That's fantastic.
I think I would, I usually end with this story, and I'll make it very brief, but when I was 40 years old, I decided to go skydiving. Like, it was my bucket list. I had it in my mind for the longest time. And so we went through all the instructions, and it felt like it was taking a long time just to get up in the air, and he said, no, it's just very important that you understand all this, because once we get up there, you're going to be afraid and you won't want to do it. I said, no, I'm ready. Like, I want to do this. And so long story short, we get up 12,000 feet and the door comes up and I don't want to do it. Like, I do not want to do it. But I started following his instructions step by step. And the next thing you know, I'm tumbling out of this airplane in this free fall. And, you know, it's one of the greatest experiences of my life that I almost missed out on. And so I think I would just say to you, if something has been holding you back, whether it's fear of failure, whether it's making the time, or whatever that mindset is that's been holding you back, let 2021 be the year that you just take the chance on you. You make the investment in you and you see what you can achieve, because I believe you could be missing out on the greatest free fall of your life. And just take that chance and take that opportunity. And if we can help you in any way, we'd love to. But just it's you know, let that be your year. Stop letting things hold you back, because you might be missing out on that untapped potential that's within you.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Kelly, Denise,
Yeah.
Denise, will you be embarrassed if I read a testimonial that you received? So she has,
now she's afraid.
She has several. Okay. But she received a testimonial, written testimonial. I don't know how many of you have ever watched Shark Tank, but Kevin Harrington, who was one of the original sharks on Shark Tank, wrote this about Denise. I want to tell you about a friend of mine, Denise Grove. She's helping women get unstuck, helping them reach for their potential and turn their dreams into reality. So I want to suggest that you give Denise Grove a call. Check her out on Facebook, online, go to her site, and see if you can find a way to have her help you. If you're in this situation of getting unstuck, reaching for your potential, you're going to want to talk to Denise Grove. Kevin Harrington, one of the original sharks on Shark Tank.
It's a good testimonial.
I liked it. I don't really like that.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful to be able to hear from other people, and that's, yeah, absolutely a great testimonial to have and to share. And yeah, as I said, I encourage people to check out your website, to check out the course, and no matter what, I'll echo you, Denise. No matter what, at least take those steps. Find an accountability buddy, whoever that might be, a good person for you. And I completely agree to not let life pass you by, because we don't know how many days we have. Right. We know they're numbered, but we don't know how many we have. And taking advantage and living life to the fullest while you can is absolutely fantastic advice. I agree 100%. So thank you both so much for this conversation today. I know I'm leaving this conversation feeling renewed and inspired, and I'm sure others will be as well. And I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. And again, you can look for the links to Denise and Dennis's information in the video description here shortly when the replay is available on YouTube. Thank you all. Have a great day, everyone.